What's up YouTube? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a brand creation process start to finish. This is a brand creation for a brand new architecture studio that's focusing on environmental and sustainable architecture called Net Zero Architects. I don't know what this brand looks like at all. We don't have the colors, we don't have fonts, we don't have a logo. We're gonna have to create all of that stuff. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through how I did it, talk about my process, the reasons I'm making some of the decisions I made along the way, and hopefully you learn a thing or two about brand design and logo creation. So for the next 10 minutes, let me be your guide on a totally from scratch, start to finish brand creation process. Let's go. Welcome back to the video, everybody. We're going to dive right in today, and because some of you guys said that in the last video when I was doing the Coinbase media campaign, you wanted to see me get to the design work faster, I went ahead and already created a mood board. If you're interested in how I find inspiration, how I build out mood boards, check out that video because I did go through that process. But today we've already got a mood board set up, so we're just going to go straight into the design work and see where this takes us. Now, I do want to quickly review the mood board that I put together before we start the design process, just so that you can get an understanding of kind of where my head is at right now. So what you'll notice here is that we have very West Coast style layouts. We have a lot of black and white. We got a bright accent color, and then things are kind of this sci-fi tech vibe. I really want to explore how this feels because when you're doing an architecture brand, we'll be able to have a lot of creative freedom and do some really cool layout stuff. You'll also notice that a lot of these brands have an accent color that's very bright and exciting. Most of them are orange and yellow. I feel like that's maybe a little overdone. And since this is Net Zero Architects, so we know that they're kind of focusing on this eco-friendly building style, I think maybe a bright green is a better fit for them. So we're gonna explore down that avenue a little bit, along with kind of this space age sci-fi tech feeling typography. I think it's gonna turn out really cool. Let's jump in and start designing. So when I was starting with a new brand design, what I like to do is go for what I would consider like the low-hanging fruit first. In this case, that's going to be the color palette, because I'm already confident that I know what color palette I want to use. I want to use the black, the white, and the green. Not saying that that's not going to change or slightly get modified as we go through the brand design process, but it's a good stepping stone to start with because I know that's what I want to do. Sometimes I might start with the typography, or sometimes I might start with the layout design or the logo design if I have an idea for that. But designing a brand is almost like building a staircase, right? You have to start one step at a time and build on the steps behind you. And so you need to kind of get deeper and deeper into designing this brand as you go in order to really build out a full brand. So for me, you have to start with what you know you want to do. And then as you do that, you can start to iterate on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until you build this really cool, cohesive brand. Okay, that color palette's okay for now. We're probably going to end up tweaking that as we go. Let's start working on some of the typography for this brand and see if we can find a typeface that we really like. And then probably what I'm going to do is find a typeface that I can use as like a header typeface and modify that for the logo wordmark, and then we can do the logo icon. I think for the logo icon, we want to do the number 0 in some sort of cool sci-fi style. We can use that as a design element in the layout pieces, but the wordmark will kind of be the staple of this brand identity, and it'll have that kind of sci-fi feel that we're really trying to go for, and we'll pair that with like a really nice sans serif font that we can use for, you know, body copy and that sort of a thing. I haven't really been able to find a typeface that's getting me really excited about this. I like to find a typeface that I can really be like, yes, that is the typeface, that's the look for this logo mark. I haven't found that yet. So unfortunately, I think that I'm going to probably have to just design this from scratch. And I'm not a great typeface designer. There are typeface designers out there that are much better at this than I am. But we're going to give it a go here. Hopefully we can find something that's not quite so hard to read as some of these typefaces are, but also isn't quite so boring like some of the kind of standard sans serif grotesque typefaces. So hopefully we'll find that happy medium, and we're just gonna have to see what happens here. I did go ahead and buy this typeface here called Andromica, and it's almost there, but it's a little too sharp, it's a little too spread out. I definitely don't like that R, whatever is happening there, can't read it. So we're just going to have to see if we can merge all of these thoughts together and create something that's a little bit stronger for the logo type. all these typefaces look like they're about the same width letter-wise, so hopefully we can kind of create something that's a little bit in between all three of them. Whenever you're doing typeface design, it's important to make sure that the horizontal bars are a little bit thinner than the vertical bars because it's an optical illusion. Your eye will always think that the horizontal bars are thicker than the vertical bars. It's because we have two eyes, so we view things on a horizontal plane. So then our eyes kind of warp a design to make it look like they're thicker. So we have to make sure that we optically balance the typeface instead of just making it mathematically balanced. Now that I've created this custom logo type, I'm gonna have to go ahead and kern all of the letters to make sure that this logo mark is really buttoned up. This is one of the most important steps in the logo design process, so don't skip over it, folks. If you want a video on kerning, let me know in the comments down below. You get to see a little bit about how I do this. I definitely am going to reflect it and mirror it and make sure that all of the spacing between all of the letters is exactly correct and pixel perfect. The trick to kerning, really quickly, is to actually look at the space, but not the space in between the letters mathematically speaking, but the white space between the letters. So I'll show you how I do this. Let's get into kerning. This can be fun. Okay, we're gonna leave that there for right now. I have kind of this idea for a logo mark or an icon mark of a leaf and the number 0, and maybe there's something between the two of those because this is net zero architecture. So I'm gonna start working on that, see if there's a concept there that I like, and if not, that's why we experiment. So let's dive into making the icon mark for this brand now that we've got kind of a color palette and a word mark established. So I've made a few iterations of this leaf and 0 kind of icon logo mark, and I think it matches the typeface that we created for the net 0 pretty well. I don't know which one I prefer quite yet. Usually when I'm doing something where I'm kind of iterating and creating a lot of different iterations of something, I like to take a step back once I am kind of out of ideas, go work on something else for a little while, and then come back to it and see which one I like the best, and then maybe continue to add a few tweaks here or there, but usually it helps me to kind of like disconnect a little bit. So I want to jump back over to the word mark because I'm still not 100% happy with that, which is one of the reasons why I left it and then went to making the leaf icons. I'm going to start messing around with that a little bit and see if I can't make it just a little bit stronger It feels like it's trying too hard. I don't know what it is off the top of my head right now. I think I'm going to start with maybe just making it a little bit thicker, a little bit more like beefy or meaty, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. If you need your typeface to be a little bit bolder, one quick thing that you could do is add a stroke just to kind of test and see if that makes your typeface look a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. Now I think we're on to something. I think this thicker weight is a lot better for the word mark. So I'm going to go ahead and outline this stroke and merge everything together. We lose a little bit of detail in like the Z, but I think it's worth it because I think overall the typeface just feels a lot stronger. Now because I adjusted the weight, I'm going to go ahead and need to rekern this logo a little bit. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So coming back to these leaf logos, I think this one right here is my favorite of them all. So it looks the most like a zero and also a leaf. I feel like it's got good balance to it, and it matches the typeface really well versus, you know, like I like this one, but I feel like it kind of loses a little bit of the zero look. So I think that we're gonna go ahead and go with this one for right now, and we're gonna make this also the same boldness and the same weight as the typeface that we're using, and that's gonna become the logo icon. Alright, I like the logo identity that we have down right now. There might be just a little tweaking here or there, but this is pretty much going to be it. I'm going to probably revisit the colors for just a second, just to make sure that we have exactly what we want, since we did do those at the very beginning, before we knew how this brand was really going to take shape. With that, we're ready to get started on some layout design. We'll do some business cards, maybe some other print material. We'll pull this whole brand together and we'll see how the whole brand interacts with each other. I think it's going to look really cool once we're all said and done. So let's jump into that, and then I'll show you the results. That should be enough layout design to really set the mood for this brand and see how the whole entire brand creates synergy among all of the different elements, the colors, the logos, the typefaces, the layout. So now I think we're ready to just show the results, and let me know in the comments what you think.